Hey YouTube, this is Jade Storm coming at you, and this video, as you can tell from the title, I don't normally do this, guys, but I don't normally talk. I don't normally discuss my emotions with a lot of people. I I wanted to talk to you a little bit because I've been gone for so long that I think you guys deserve an explanation, and as you can see from the name of this title, this video is about someone who I recently lost. It's very hard on me. It still is. I'm still coping. I'm still learning to deal with it. I recently just lost my grandmother, and my grandmother passed away on March 5th of this year, and I attended her funeral Monday. It was extremely hard. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I'm going to try my best to hold it together, but I will post this no matter what because I'm not ashamed to admit that I will miss her very much. But I also wanted to... I've never showed you anything of what my family looks like. You know, I am very proud to have been my grandmother's grandson, and I'm not ashamed in any way to, some people when they grow up, it's kind of like they grow. I don't want to say it's like they're afraid to show compassion because they think their friends will think they're clingy or they're mama's boys, or in my case, I'm sitting in front of you at 23 years of age, and I was a grandma's boy the day I was born, and I will always be one. But this right here is my grandmother, and that is also my grandfather. And I remember when my grandmother told me once, when I was younger, I was more immature. I was 16 years old and I thought I knew everything. And she told me that the lessons that we learned, if we don't pass them on, then they weren't worth learning. That if we learn something, we should feel at least obligated to share it with those who are close to us. My friend Ryan also said something to me, and my friend Christian and Sam, and even my friend DeMarcus, and my friend Cody, and pretty much anyone else who is very close to me has said something to the effect of, if we cannot lean on our friends in times of emotional distress, pain, then they're really not friends. And I consider all of you friends. So I'm going to just kind of tell you a couple of things, and I hope that you'll take them that I'm not doing this to gain sympathy. I'm doing it because I think it's important to appreciate the people we have in our life before we don't have them anymore. It's really weird. About a week ago, it snowed, and I went outside and to see how bad it was, and I was drawn to a memory, and I instantly thought of a snowman. Now, I'm sure you all can remember, or at least I can, the very first time that I built a snowman. I'm sure you can think of a time that maybe you had a snowball, that you built a snowman with your friends. The first time I built a snowman, it wasn't with my best friend. It wasn't at school. It was in my grandmother's backyard. And it was with my grandmother. I can remember making it. I can remember us digging for rocks to find for the buttons. I remember her taking one of my grandfather's old hats, putting on him. And I remember her even getting a carrot out of the fridge, cleaning it, and skinning it, and giving it to me to put on the snow. It's things like that that make it hard. Another thing I'm reminded of is she told me once that you need to make sure that you always tell the people in your life what they mean to you before you don't have the chance. Fortunately, I was able to do that. There are people in my life I've lost that I didn't get a chance to do that with. My friend Daytona, who passed in a random car accident. I never got a chance to tell him. I never got a chance to tell my friend Taylor, who passed away in a fire, in which he was asleep and his house caught on fire and he was trapped inside. And I wasn't able to tell my best friend that. I made that mistake 3 times. With 3 people who I loved. I'm sorry. But I did make that mistake. With a woman that if I didn't have I wouldn't have this YouTube channel. I wouldn't have graduated college. I wouldn't have graduated high school. I like to think that I'm a pretty strong person. But as of the last week, I've been extremely weak. If I didn't have the friends that I have, if I didn't have someone who's been like a father to me and pretty much has been my grandfather, or one of the best friends I've ever had, and my hero, my mother, I wouldn't have made it past much longer, I don't believe. So, to my friends, my grandfather, and my mother, and all of you, I just want to say thank you. Because having all of your support, you have been able to help me cope. There's a lot of things that have been going through my mind these last few days. And I can imagine all of you have lost someone that you've cared about before. And you'll agree with me when I say it's not easy. it's unbearable. And it's even worse when it's someone that you are extremely close with. I gave my grandmother and my grandparents, both of them, I gave them a lot of reasons to give up on me after, just my past actions and things that happened in my life. But my grandmother, she never, ever stopped. She never gave up on me. And there's something to be said for anybody, if you're wondering. My grandmother, about 18 months ago, was diagnosed with leukemia. And she went through one hell of a fight. If there's one thing that my grandmother stood for, it's even when the odds are not in your favor, even when something is tough, to never give up. My grandmother, in her final lesson to me, showed me what true strength is. Because I'm not ashamed to say, after a couple of past experiences in my younger life, or I guess high school life would be better, I was extremely weak, and I gave up on myself at times. But she never gave up on me. Her final lesson is something that I want to share with all of you. Because, like I said, she told me the lessons we learn, we should always teach them to spread the knowledge. I don't know, I can't speak for all of you, but I don't know where you draw your strength from when you need it the most. Me, I drew it from my friends, I drew it from my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother. I'm sure that when my grandmother was battling this disease that I hate with every bone in my body, I can't begin to describe to you how much I hate cancer. I can imagine, because I took her sometimes to her treatments in the hospital when she would have to get blood transfusions. I can imagine when she would spend 2+ hours for a transfusion, and then another hour to 2 hours for a treatment. And she would do this 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. Maybe both, maybe just one of them. I can imagine, because we're all human, that there was at least a time where she wanted to just stop. but she didn't. And her final lesson to me of never giving up, it's a lesson that I don't think is fully appreciated. It is used in almost every form of media we have, from cartoons to movies to anime to books to video games, you name it, to never give up. You should always strive on. You never should give up on anything. And it's a lesson that I don't think is fully appreciated. There's a difference between wanting to give up and actually giving up. She never did. She never gave up. And I think that's a lesson that I think we can all appreciate. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to gain sympathy. I'm not. I'm just trying to do another thing she always told me was, you should always try and turn something bad into something good. I wouldn't call this bad, I would call this heartbreaking. I've had 3 people in my life that were family that I knew were always going to be there for me. And that is my grandparents and my mother. And my grandmother, to give you just a little bit of information on her, she was my grandmother. She lived in a small community. There wasn't one area of that community she hadn't touched. She volunteered for the church. She helped with elections. She did community service. She helped with a program called Hearts and Hands that helps people with that have houses that need a lot of work done. And my grandfather would donate his time and his workers. He owns a construction business, and they would fix up needy families' houses for free. She delivered meals to people who were incapable of going out and shopping for themselves. I believe it was called Meals on Wheels, if I'm remembering correctly. When I was in high school, I was in a club called Key Club, and she would, my junior and senior years of high school, every time we had a meeting, she made lunch for my whole group. She had a smile that always lit up her room. My grandmother's middle name is Joy. And that's very fitting because she was always able to make me feel better, no matter what. Maybe not completely get over it, but she always had a way of just making me smile. And I'm going to miss that. I would call her every other day. And on the days that I didn't call, I would at least send her a text. Thinking of you. I love you. I'm always here. Hope you're doing okay. Give Pa a hug for me and give Buddy a pet for me, her dog. And just know that I love you. And when I would talk to her, we would talk about just random stuff. The weather, how school was going, how life was. And I'm still in shock, guys. I still am. I can I have hundreds upon hundreds of memories with this woman who is in my life, who I was so lucky to have as my grandmother. I actually grabbed my phone today and I was going to call her. It just became habit. And I saw this picture that I keep. My grandma always told me, she would always say, "You're just like your grandfather. You're just so goddamn hard-headed." And she's right, I am. I probably always will be. But she told me once, the last thing we should do when we have something on our mind is not talk about it. And to their credit, my friends have all said the same thing. If you need someone, I'm here. So, to Ryan, Christian, Sam, Cody, DeMarcus, all of you, Zane, Zach, Connor, and if I forgot to mention your name, I'm sorry. But please know, to steal a line from one of my favorite shows, I'm a very lucky son of a bitch. I have some of the greatest friends in the world. And I'm very lucky to have them in my life. So I don't want to continue to ramble, but I just want to leave you with one thing. If you could do me a favor, and I'm talking to everybody, I want you to go up to someone that you love, whether that be a mother, a father, a grandmother, a grandfather, a brother, a sister, or a very, very close friend. And I want you to tell them what they mean to you. Because I told my grandmother this. I said, "You are the strongest woman I've ever known in my life." I told her that I was very proud and will always be proud that I am her grandson. I told her there wouldn't be one day that goes by for the rest of my life where I won't think of her at least once a day. And that I will love her forever. I want you all to do this because you don't want the alternative to happen. I had it happen to me 3 times where I didn't get to tell 3 of the most impressive people I've met. All 3 of who I loved and were my friends. I didn't get a chance to tell them what they meant to me. Now I know what someone would say. They would say that your friends already know what they mean to you. But it's kind of like the same thing of when maybe some kid somewhere stops saying I love you so much to a family member. Saying it is always best. So I'm telling you, you do not want to have to live that, because you will spend days upon days upon days regretting that. Now, when I told my grandmother everything she meant to me, I probably looked like I was 3 years old. I was crying so much. But I'm glad I did. I know everything I told her she already knew, but she deserved to hear it. So, if there's one thing that I would like that I learned from my grandmother, Janet, I want you all to take the lesson that in her final lesson, that she was able to teach me. I want you to remember, no matter how grim a situation looks, you should always never give up. And you should continue to have faith and fight, no matter what it is. So, I hope that you guys maybe think just for 2 minutes that maybe this rant, I know it's all over the place, and I'm sorry for that. I hope that you take just a couple of minutes and think that maybe it's worth thinking about. So maybe the next time you see your mom, your dad, or whoever it might be, maybe it's your grandma, your grandfather, maybe you can just say, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, I just want to let you know what you mean to me. Because it's a lot better than the alternative of never being able to tell them. Again, guys, I just want to thank you for all of the support and the kind words that you have given me during this hard time. It's not been easy, and I'm probably still not over it, and I probably never will be, but I'll heal, but the scar will remain, because I will miss her forever. So I hope that maybe you got something out of this. Because the final lesson that I learned, or my grandmother tried to teach me or remind me, is one that shouldn't be belittled. It's something that I think everyone should be taught and reminded of every now and then. So thank you very much, guys, for your support, your kind words, your sentiments. Because it means more than you'll ever know. Like I said, I'm a very, very lucky son of a bitch. It's from Cheers, if you've ever seen it. But lastly, I just want to say thank you to one more person, and that's my grandmother. I guess I will say one more thing. There's a very, very, very cheesy line in an old book. I won't name it, but if you can, if you know what I'm talking about, kudos to you. It's, the ones that love us never really leave us. And you can always find them when you look inside your heart. I love my grandma to death, and that'll never change. So, Grandma, thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of you guys who have given me your support during this hard time. I love you all very much, and I'm going to continue to do videos for you guys. And I'm sorry if this may seem a little weird, but at the end of this video that I've made, I feel better. And whether or not no one says anything to me about it or not, it's helped me. And I hope that if you're dealing with something bad in your life right now, maybe you can get something from it too. And then maybe you'll take my advice and tell those in your life that are really important to you what they mean to you, because you don't want the day to come and you don't get that chance. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. If you did watch, I'm sorry. I like to think I did pretty good. I thought I would be doing a lot worse. I've been kind of putting this video off all day, but got through it. Did what I feel is about as good as I could have of holding it together, but I'm not ashamed to show that I have been emotional. Please know that this was only a one shoot video. Sometimes I shoot videos 2-3 times and before I'm completely satisfied, so I make sure that you guys get the best. But this right here, I'm not ashamed of the points where I froze for a minute and had to swallow some sadness, and because I'm proud. I'm not ashamed to say I've been sad, and I hope that you guys maybe got something out of this. So, thank you very much, and I'm going to get back to doing what I love doing, and that's making videos for all you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much, guys, and I will see you around.